Do your kids challenge you? They challenge you because they want to become you. They want to become you, it's because of evolution. So they want to become you to sustain an idea that they're having what you have to survive and stay alive and maintain a body that can, flow effortlessly with life. They don't know how hard it is to actually be an adult. They are just grabbing onto anything they can to evolve. So as humans, as parents, the idea is instill the effortlessness of who we are as individuals to let go and become more subordinate towards realizations of having and being abundant and becoming more abundant. And I think that parents get too caught up on small actions of resolution, and those small actions of resolution don't actually allow you to separate yourself from a stronger currency or a stronger ability to introduce the idea of lack and how it affects the human body and human nature. I think that we are trying to make small habits change, and the small habits don't lead to actually bigger habits being changed. It's actually more so that we are correcting the system in itself and correcting the idea of what that person is trying to achieve in their life, and maintaining a hierarchy of being able to achieve that balance associated with their own personal experiences. And when I say personal experiences, it could be any type of trauma or any relation towards things happening in your own life. And and I want to say more so your own life, because what you're portraying is what they're grabbing onto. They're really a ball of learning, and it's a hardwire that the brain does. It forces people to kind of adapt to people around them. That's why people say, hey, like, hang out with a lot of rich people and they will help you rewire your brain. And it's completely true, as well as your kids are learning from you astronomically. And it's part of what we call that human evolution. It's flawless because it allows us to evolve. Although maybe it seems like it's slower than we'd want it to be, it's very quick, and the process is eliminating the nature of who you thought you were in that moment that you were previously, to becoming more attuned to reality that you're in right now. Your kid is very intelligent, trying to manifest and work through a reality that it knows, and it's consistent because you guys are alive. You're keeping track of everything, and you're maintaining the idea of, I guess, humans would call respect. And that word respect is it's not properly used. I would say that respect also has to do with where are the learning experiences, where is the wisdom, and how is that wisdom very connected to that child or the universe, to the point where they can pick up on new discrepancies for their own self to evolve more than what they were given or what is placed in front of them, and allowing them to go even a separate way where they're not so reliant on the parent. I think that kids get too reliant on parents, and that stops them from being able to adapt more and download that intelligence on their own. And that's why we do the meditation programs and unwind and let go, because it allows them to actually get more intuitive downloads as well. With them receiving more life, you being able to let go, create that separation so that they can become more willing and allowing with nature and what it has for us, not, so to say, being that helicopter parent that people talk about, or you see kind of around you. You'll see if people are kind of bombarding their children, or maybe if you do it as well and you'd like to stop doing it. It's really about creating that separation, and that separation with yourself and what you need, because I think people don't realize that we have this intuitive nature to be a little bit selfish in ways where there's this idea of I need to protect because it's my resolution, it's my problem, it's my thing to overcome, so that they can experience the life that they want to have. But it becomes very controlling and vindictive, and I think people don't fully know what that means, and they just need to snap out of it. And it's like you said, it's learned behavior. Humans are sponges, and if you're around people, or if your, let's say, genetic trait or genetic responsibility is to create that atmosphere, it's something that you grabbed onto due to its genetic roots, but you're able to break those, so to say, curses, those, so to say, actualizations of action, and you're able to remove them in a way where you can actually allow your children to have more freedom, and it's actually a lot more safe for everyone around you as well to understand and realize this too, So when you are kind of tapped into it, when you know it, when you can feel it, when you can sense it, well, guess what? Everyone else can too, because everyone is sponges, and there's strength and currency in that. You know, your children are here. Yes, they're gaining their own knowledge, they're gaining their own support mechanisms, but you have to understand that you are doing a lot of the role playing, and that role playing has to be more so, okay, what can we break down so my children can connect with a higher purpose or a higher cause of, you know, receiving that abundance and having that abundance that's here for us in the background, and we just don't fully know it yet. And how can we learn a little bit more of that so we can create that separation so that child can actually maintain it on their own? And I think that's what parents are afraid of. They're afraid of letting their kids maintain their own perspective on life, because they think that they can't help them when they have their own perspective or when they have their own ideas. But at the same time too, those need to get let go of, because when you start to control those, then they feel that push from you, and they don't, kids do not want that push at all. They want to feel welcomed, but also too, there's something more welcoming that they don't even know that could be tapped into, so that they're not, you know, recreating an experience that's packed with, you know, trauma or bad personal experiences. Also pulling on genetic traits that don't need to be there. We need to go deeper, find that disconnection point, and this happens naturally during the meditation programs, the live events as well. It allows us to break free from the old resolution and that you thought you needed to have, and create a new resolution for us to kind of have that dominant function to then go out into the world and realize that your kid's going to be okay no matter what you do, because you know that there's some type of protection around the ability to choose that God essence, choose that form of abundance that's here for us, and maintain that idea, so we're not so controlling or being that helicopter parent, and choosing a better reality. And I know that we have all these safety mechanisms in our brain that connect us to the idea of protection, and that is, you know, maintained in a way where we can actually seek that resolution, and it gives us kind of like a foreplay with life. The thing is that we can have that foreplay be a lot more intuitive, a lot more understanding, that has a better personal growth development. So when we have more personal growth, we bring it to everybody around us. So I think that parents don't pay attention to that enough, to where their kids can really receive it on their own, because that's really what you want. And what does personal development actually mean? Because obviously there's schools, there's sports, there's friends, there's, you know, TV, some, you know, depending on what show you watch, if it's informational, documentaries, and all of these are great things to watch and do and to learn about, and you have all those, you know, discrepancies, but at the same time, the universe, the laws that it has, growth and expansion that you can connect to really join that state of community, working together, going deeper, finding that resolution. Those are more important, I would say, than any of the other things that I said previously. All of the sports and activities and friends, because we have to understand that stuff happens naturally when we're in alignment. And when we're in alignment, that's like the base. That's the base of who we are. So getting that aligned and maintaining it allows us to have everything else naturally, but do it in a way where it's more freeing, more connected, really building up that true self and exploring new versions of reality, but in a way where it has a lot more light and a lot more personality, without having to feel so let down or so sluggish or so slow. So we need to understand that, you know, our kids need that separation as much as we do. We just don't know it, and sometimes it's difficult to create that separations, and the universe is going to do it automatically. I mean, there's all these different, you know, symptoms and all these things that we kind of almost go to try and actually create a separation with our kids. I know that you have like the postpartum, you have all these things. It's a way for us to actually help them maintain their own having, their own abundance, their own willingness to perceive life. And it can be harmful to us sometimes because we're not fully removing that discrepancy of imbalances due to the ability to protect. We just don't know we're doing it. And we realize that, okay, I can't do it in the way that I was. So now I feel a little bit depressed. Now I feel a little bit of this. Or in general, there's other different types of, those depressional issues. But at the end of the day, the more that you can separate and know that your child is safe and protected, the more that the brain can actually receive better chemicals, better understanding, better development, better growth functions for you and everybody around you. So take this all into consideration when you have a kid. And like I said, I know it is hard to, remove yourself from all of these ideas of protecting and saving and helping, but at the same time, beyond that, you'll find something more abundant, and it really shows to the world and to you how small you kind of realize that you are, because people don't know or understand that we need to understand that we're not as big as we think we are, and there's something there that's bigger. And to constantly keep coming into that idea allows us to let go of the reins, because we know we're not in control as much as we thought we were. So then your children don't feel like they're being controlled as much as they thought they were. And this is a good way of understanding the key role in parenting and child development as they are growing from, it doesn't matter age, from infancy to 18, 20, 30, all of those ages. It all occurs, and it's all allowing us to understand that we need to go a little deeper in ourselves, tap into something more, release that control, release that focus on the other person, so that there can be something else that takes place for you and your children as well.